In 1977, one soda company was selling 1 million bottles every single day. 6 years later, it didn't lose market share. It didn't get bought out, it simply disappeared. Today, almost nobody remembers it, and the strangest part, the innovation that made it one of Canada's biggest business success stories became the exact reason it collapsed. Before 1969, buying pop in Canada meant one option, full price, one flavor, whatever the grocery store felt like stocking. No mixing, no choosing, you paid what you were told to pay. Then a small group of friends in London, Ontario, found the one gap nobody else had bothered to look for. Cut out the middleman, bottle it yourself, sell it yourself, half the price, straight out of your own depot. Here's the part that turned a soda run into a ritual. You walked in with an empty red crate, dropped it off, got your deposit back. Then you walked the floor, 4 slots, 6 flavors, you built your own case bottle by bottle. Black cherry for you, cream soda for your sister, and grape because of grape. For a kid, this was the best decision of the week. But underneath that ritual was something sharper. Think of it like an IKEA showroom, built entirely for soda. One door in, but to get back out, you had to walk the length of the entire store, past every flavor, past every stack. 9 times out of 10, you left with a full crate you never planned on buying. Then there was the deposit. $3 a crate, steep on purpose. That steepness meant 99% of bottles came back. Washed, refilled, and sent out again. Barely any packaging cost. No long haul shipping, which meant they could sell a bottle for a dime and still profit. Cheap pop, real choice, and a reason to come back every single week. It worked almost too well. In just 3 years, sales exploded from $2 million to $17 million. That's not growth. That's a company that just found a shortcut and hasn't yet learned what happens when you take one too many. Fast growth like that attracts a very specific kind of attention, the kind with a checkbook. In 1972, a Toronto venture capital firm called VentureTech bought the company. And this is where the story stops being about soda. It becomes a story about debt. VentureTech didn't think big. They thought recklessly, bottling plants across the country, a push into a dozen American states, from New York to California. A hockey legend, Eddie Shack, signed on as the face of the brand, turning a regional Canadian soda company into one of the biggest business stories of the decade. By 1977, the company was moving 1 million bottles a day, and copycats were everywhere. Pickle Pop, Pop House, Happy Pop. When your competitors start cloning your entire business model, that's the market telling you your moat was never that deep. This is the peak. Remember this moment, because it's the last one that feels good, and what tears it all down isn't a competitor. It's a decision made in a boardroom nobody watching this ever saw. Here's the mechanism nobody at the top wanted to look at. Every new U.S. plant meant new shipping routes, new construction costs, and new franchise support teams, all before a single extra bottle turned a profit. They were opening markets faster than those markets could pay them back. Through the late 70s, big supermarket chains started stacking bargain cases of name brand soda right by the front door. No deposit, no empties, no separate trip. Suddenly, the Pop Shoppe's big savings barely saved you anything, and it wasn't on the way to anywhere you were already going. To cover the losses, VentureTech raised the prices it charged its own franchisees, the very people running the stores. They were being squeezed from both sides, undercut from outside, bled from inside. And this is where it stops being a business problem and becomes an extinction event. Stores started closing. Franchisees were stuck with inventory they couldn't move. Bottles piled up in warehouses nobody wanted. In 1981, the Pop Shoppe pulled out of the United States. By late 1982, the company was in receivership, meaning its creditors now controlled what was left of it. Within a year, it was gone. They left behind millions of unclaimed bottles. For years, small unauthorized bottlers in the U.S. just grabbed the leftover stock and sold their own soda in Pop Shoppe bottles. Nobody stopped them. Nobody could. By 1993, the trademark had quietly expired, and the brand had been forgotten so completely that squatting on its bottles wasn't even worth policing. If you're enjoying this one, subscribe now, because what happens next is the part almost nobody expects. In 2002, a businessman from Burlington named Brian Alger got curious about a brand he remembered from childhood. He found out the trademark had lapsed. Nobody owned it, so he bought it for almost nothing, but there was a problem. The original recipes were long gone, so Alger did something almost obsessive. He went on eBay, hunted down old unopened bottles of Pop Shoppe Pop, and had the contents analyzed, molecule by molecule, just to reverse engineer flavors that hadn't existed in 20 years. In 2004, the Pop Shoppe came back, and this time it played a completely different game. The original one by being the cheapest option in town. The new one was built to be the opposite, premium cane sugar, priced for people chasing the memory, not the discount. In 2008, the stubby glass bottle returned, because the shape alone was worth more than any ad campaign. By 2009, it was outselling American retro brands like Dad's and Stewart's, right here on Canadian shelves. Today, it calls itself Canada's #1 premium craft soda, and it's one of the most recognizable rise and fall and comeback stories in Canadian business history. Think back to that kid standing over a red crate, 24 slots, 26 flavors, agonizing over whether the last bottle should be orange or grape. That feeling never actually died in 1982. It just went quiet for 20 years, waiting for one person stubborn enough to go looking for it on eBay. The company died because it couldn't sell cheap soda anymore. It came back by never selling cheap soda again. The Pop Shoppe discovered the most profitable version of nostalgia is the one you can no longer get. If you had a favorite Pop Shoppe flavor, tell me which one you'd bring back tomorrow. And if you want more stories about brands that grew too fast and crashed even faster, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.